What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XMR Monero today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. I'll give a brief overview as to what Monero is, okay? Obviously, it's an OG coin. It's been around since 2014. XMR. It's the first privacy coin that's ever existed in history of humanity, right? The very first crypto that is a privacy coin, that's Monero. And I always love saying this whenever it comes to the first, when it comes to the OGs of their space, right? Bitcoin was the OG crypto, and it remains the top dog, the biggest coin, right? Speaking of top dogs, Dogecoin, that was the first meme coin, and it is the top meme coin. Ethereum was the first smart contract token, and it is the top smart contract token. BNB was the first exchange token, and it is the top exchange token in market cap, right? Even Bitcoin Cash was the very first hard fork of Bitcoin itself, and it's the top dog, right? It's Mana is the very first metaverse token in crypto. Sandbox actually has a higher market cap than Mana, but Mana is very close to that, and it does remain one of the more prevalent cryptos in that metaverse niche, right? XMR is the first privacy token. And it's probably, by that definition, too, the most used privacy token, right? There's a lot of value in privacy, you guys. And XMR, on that note, too, if we look at this here, USD, you look at all the exchanges that it's offered on. If you notice, you go through, it's not offered on any American exchanges other than Kraken. It's not offered on Coinbase. It's not offered on Robinhood. It's not offered on Gemini or Crypto.com. If there's any other, Binance US, it's not even offered on Binance US, right? Any American exchanges. Kraken, I think they've got a good legal team or something, because they never delisted Monero like when Coinbase did. But I don't know why they didn't. I'm glad they didn't, because then that allows Americans to still buy Monero, and I think that's a valuable asset to own, honestly. And I do expect Monero to grow over time. But and we're going to get into that in just a second. But where was I going? I wanted to finish the thought. Was that this idea of value coming from things that are made illegal. Now, America hasn't made XMR illegal, but there's a reason why these exchanges delisted, or why a lot of American exchanges, Kraken's the only one that lists it, right? There's no other exchange lists it, because they don't want to be held liable for any kind of money laundering or criminal activities, illicit activities that could be associated or tethered to Monero, right? And it makes sense, of course, that those activities would happen with a privacy coin, where you can transact things digitally across the world on any given day. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. It doesn't matter if it's a holiday. It doesn't matter if the whole banking system's gone. In fact, you can just transact this without anybody's permission at any time, and privately, right? It's not that America's made it illegal, but it's very clear. I think the evidence is all around us. It's abundant that there is some pushback against privacy coins, right? Our government is definitely openly hostile toward privacy coins. And there's a reason for that, right? They don't want competition with the US dollar. The US dollar is and will probably always remain the top privacy coin, right? Well, maybe not always remain. It's going to get taken over. But it is the top privacy coin. There's a lot of value in that. Monero, it's not illegal. The point that I'm trying to make, it's not illegal, but it's treated as if it is, right? And that kind of subversion adds value. Anytime you make something illegal or taboo, right, or like a no-no, it adds value to it, right? It's like if we made guns in America illegal, every person that owns a gun could probably sell those guns for a lot more money than they could sell them for today, right? Or like the cost of guns, to get a gun, it would just cost you a lot more. It might be illegal, but it's going to cost you more. Making things illegal is actually a good thing if you're holding those things, right? It actually increases their value. And XMR is in this kind of perfect space. This is kind of the connection I'm trying to make, where it's not illegal. It's like borderline frowned upon and taboo. So it's legal. You can buy it, but there's also this frowned uponness of a look upon it, which I think does add to its value as well, right? It definitely does add to its value as well. I don't know if that makes any sense, but if the dots didn't connect for you there, I don't know how to better connect them. Maybe I'm connecting dots that shouldn't be connected, but that was a hell of an introduction. I was just rambling for a second there. Let's talk about the exciting stuff, right? The exciting stuff, which is that last week Monero broke out, you guys. We had a 36.5% pump. Beautiful move. Very beautiful move. You saw some of the highest readings in your RSI that you've seen since 2021, since your bull cycle. This could very well be the beginning of Monero's bull cycle, yeah. You've been in this box of a zone here for so long, and you've just broken out of it, right? Not only that, But this week, you back tested it for support, and you found support. You found immaculate support, didn't you? Look at that wick. It's beautiful. All the way down, all the way up. You bounced right off of your 50 even, right? A little bit of bearish divergence to top it off, but hey, you're right back up. This is what they call a bear trap. Absolutely, it's a bear trap. Absolutely, the party just got started. It's not ending here. So let's talk about where you are going to go. From a high to a low, Monero was consolidating beneath its 382, bouncing off the 236 for a very long time, occasionally going down to the 0.069, but most of the time staying in this range. Finally broke above the 382, hit the 0.5, pulled back down here, found support, closing above the 382. It's looking good. The next target area, I don't believe, is the 61869. I do believe it's the 886786. So that's what I'm going to say. You're at $208 now, $208.90. I think your next target is 427 to 361, and I do expect you to hit this target. If not by the end of the year, then by the end of January. And the thing is, you guys, Monero's been cooped up for so long that if it really wanted to, like it sounds kind of crazy, but perhaps these targets could be acceptable for end of year, even end of January targets as well. I'm not entirely sure, right? We don't know how Monero's been performing this cycle so far, right? It just kind of started its cycle with this breakout, right? It's been in this accumulation phase, this very long accumulation phase. I would argue that it's kind of just starting its bull phase. So we don't know how it's going to perform, but if we take into consideration how it performed last cycle, whenever it finally broke out, which would have been like here, it consolidated a little bit and then it started to run, you know, from a low to a high, and this was at like a double top kind of high, you saw a 19x. You saw a 19, almost a 20x actually. From a low, I would count this as the low here. I mean, like that's your low, but I'm just going to go with this low here. From a low to a high, I would expect that Monero sees a greater cycle this cycle. The main reason for that is I think this cycle, even if you saw, let's say you saw half as great of a cycle as you did last cycle, right here. You're still at new all-time highs. You've broken out of this multi-cycle consolidation phase you've been in with this half move from last cycle. So my thoughts are, if you were to go here, you wouldn't stop here. You would actually go higher. My thoughts are that not only will you see a similar cycle as you did last cycle from a low to a high, but I think it'll be greater, which means, yes, you're at $209 now. I do expect Monero to be worth multiple thousands of dollars, even several thousands of dollars by the end of the cycle, right? And it's hard to say because we don't have a lot to go off of, right? I'm just comparing the last cycle overall performance because we don't know how really we're performing this cycle yet. But I do believe you will see, you know, at a bare minimum from the fibs, you would see $1,000, right? $1,000 gives you about a 900% growth. You know, that's not really, that would mean that you have a weaker cycle this cycle and you had a more tight and tame kind of bear cycle and accumulation phase, right? Like this is, you're very wound up and you're just letting loose. It doesn't feel right to me to call for $1,000 to be your top. So I don't think it is going to be your top. And again, I think you will see a stronger cycle than you did last cycle. So let's just bypass the 141 and go all the way up to the 1618. So there we are at the 1618. That's a 27 to 28x coming from a 20x to 28x. That does it enough for me. I could see that happening. I could see, you know, you consolidated for 2 cycles. Monero, maybe you top off at your 1618 or around there. So let's go for that. You're at $208 now. You've just started your move, your endeavors over the next year to journey up toward 3K, maybe at least I would think $1,500, but probably above $2,000 and probably not above $3,000 for Monero. So that's pretty awesome, man. And you never know, even with this kind of coin, you never know when it really could just go ballistic, right? I very much do believe Monero has been repressed, suppressed. It's been held under, it's undervalued. And we can see that over the past couple cycles. It's just been consolidating, right? It's got a lot of pent-up aggression. I don't know how aggressive it's going to be when it breaks out, right? It's very possible, and I mean this, what I'm about to say, okay? And this is not just Moonboy stuff. It is Moonboy stuff, but it's not just Moonboy stuff. It's very real at the same time. We don't know what we're dealing with here. This is the very first privacy coin that's ever existed, right? We don't know what its true, or maybe we all know what its true potential is, and that's why I'm about to make the prediction I'm about to make. We're at about a $4 billion market cap. A 10x from here would be $40 billion. A 20x is about 80 billion, right? A 40x is 160 billion. So then basically a 50x would be 200 billion, right? 50x, 60x. So you'd be worth more than $200 billion up here. Monero, you guys, has been around for several cycles. I think it does deserve I personally think even now at this price, it deserves a multi-hundred billion dollar market cap. And the reality is you could see that by the end of this cycle. You really could. You can't see that kind of growth. Look at the kind of, what do you mean we can't see that? We've seen that kind of growth before. You wouldn't even need, you'd need half this kind of growth to see the kind of growth that I'm talking for by the end of this cycle. You know what I mean? So we can see it. And yes, I understand it's higher market caps, but the thing is, this thing is, it is utilized. It is unique. It has its own niche space, and it is the OG, so it's the most used in its niche space. At least I think it is. I would assume it is. And it's undervalued. It's been consolidating for multiple cycles. So when this thing does decide to break out and go higher, I'm not kidding whenever I say it can be worth multiple hundreds of billions by the end of the cycle. And if you were to see a target of that kind of magnitude, you know, I would think like if you broke above 3,000, like really broke above it, I would think you don't stop till at least 6,000. I don't think you're going to go all the way to 18K by the end of this cycle. I don't think you'll be worth more than $1 trillion. Maybe, I don't know. But certainly something above 1,500 is what I would expect. 2,800 to 3,000 is probably more appropriate. With the optimism, the hopium, I'm going to lace your hopium with some Delulu right now and say we could see 6,000 to 8,000 by the end of the cycle. Yeah, if Monero really wanted to go ballistic, and it could, it really could, you guys. Like it really could. I mean, like 81% down. That's pretty big for a bear cycle, but that's for crypto. That's very tame, actually. That's very tame. And then just super tight. You're breaking out of it now. I don't know. I think what I'm the most confident in beyond the price action, like beyond calling for, I'm very confident that you will see prices above $1,500 by the end of the cycle. I would say I'm very confident that what you're about to experience, the move that's going to take you above these highs to new all-time highs, what you're about to experience over the coming like 6 months is going to be more bullish than this. It's going to be faster than anything you've seen since 2017. That I'm very confident in. I think we're about to see that now. So I'm going to end the video. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. I got nothing else to say. You're getting to these overbought zones in the monthly RSI where you like to do some pretty damn bullish things. You are in the overbought zone on your weekly RSI, seeing the most bullish readings you've seen since the last bull cycle. And of course, you broke out of your range, back tested for support, and you've got a hell of a stick to bounce off of there. So I really do believe that you're going to move up higher. The minimum expected target from here by the end of the year, if not by the end of January, to me would at least be $361. You're at $208 now. Personally, I do think you'll be at that 361 to 427 area, if not by the end of the month, by the end of January, with the total realistic, acceptable possibility that you could just go ballistic. And then by the end of January, you're at $800 to $1,400. But we'll see. We'll see. I think those will come at a later date. But you never know. You really never know, especially with something like this, man. I don't want to underestimate Monero. I think it is underestimated, and that's why I'm saying like all these very bullish things, because I very much do believe it's a solid project. It's proven its worth. It's proven its longevity. It's here to stay. And I'm just going to end it with that. So if you guys like the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. This kind of stuff makes me want to buy some more Monero, man. I feel wrong not having some in my wallet, honestly. So, but I'm properly allocated in everything that I want to be allocated in. But I'll definitely kick myself in the ass if this thing goes to 6K by the end of the cycle. It's completely possible. I'm not betting on it. That's why I probably don't own any, right? But it could happen. It could happen. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.